Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. It's all about giving your new product ideas a real shakedown before you even think about handing them over to design and development.
Idea due diligence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into this today because it's not just about dodging those expensive mistakes,
Right.
It's about setting yourself up for a real win as a product manager.
Absolutely.
We're going to unpack all of that, how to really evaluate those ideas, pitch them effectively, really up your game.
And what's interesting, I think, is that so much of this hinges on something that might be surprising to folks.
Okay.
Focusing on the problem, not jumping right into solutions.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so this whole deep dive is rooted in this idea that 95% of your initial innovation effort should be dedicated to understanding the problem inside and out, not brainstorming solutions right off the bat.
95%. That's huge. Why so much emphasis on the problem?
Think of it this way. Would you ever buy a used car without kicking the tires, checking for mileage, maybe even getting a mechanic to look at it?
Of course not.
Right. You want to know exactly what you're getting into before you hand over your hard-earned cash.
Okay, so idea due diligence is basically the due diligence you do before any major investment,
Yes.
but apply to product development.
Precisely. And just like with that used car, thorough research up front can save you a lot of headaches and wasted resources down the line.
Makes sense.
This deep dive, we break it down into 3 distinct phases.
Okay.
Idea prioritization, market discovery, and viability check.
And each of these phases guides us towards that problem-centric approach.
Absolutely. And we start with phase 1, which is all about making sure you're focusing on the right ideas from the get-go.
Okay, so let's jump right into that first phase, idea prioritization. What's the first step in figuring out which ideas are worthy of that deep dive?
Yeah, so it all starts with gathering insights and, really tapping into the collective knowledge within your organization.
Okay.
One of the sources you shared, there's a fantastic tactic for this from product expert Rich Mironov.
All right, lay it on me. What's Mironov's secret weapon for insight gathering?
It's really about targeted questioning.
Okay.
He suggests tailoring your questions to each department you engage with.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of going to your tech support team and saying, hey, give me a laundry list of every single issue you've ever encountered,
Right.
get laser focused. What are the top 7 most frequent problems?
Yeah.
And maybe the 3 or 4 emerging issues that they're most concerned about.
Yeah. I can already see how that would cut through the noise and give you a much clearer picture.
Totally.
It's about quality of insights, not just quantity, right?
Exactly. And
Okay.
and here's a really important point that I find often gets overlooked.
Okay.
No matter how good or bad an idea seems, initially always say thank you.
That seems pretty basic, but I'm guessing there's more to it than just being polite.
Yes, you got it. It's about fostering a culture of innovation.
Okay.
Saying thank you acknowledges that every idea, even if it seems way out there, stems from a genuine observation of a potential problem.
That's a great point.
And when people feel heard and valued, they're more likely to keep those observations coming, which ultimately leads to more and more breakthrough innovations.
It's about encouraging that constant flow of ideas, good or bad, because you never know where that next great innovation might come from.
Exactly. Now let's say you're handed a solution instead of a problem.
Okay.
What do you do?
It's tempting to just go with it, especially if it comes from someone, higher up.
Right.
But I'm sensing that's not the idea due diligence way.
It might take an extra 30 minutes, but going through the process, even with a predetermined solution, is crucial.
Interesting.
Because it helps you uncover hidden assumptions, potential pitfalls
Yeah.
that might not be obvious at first glance.
So even if you can't change the direction, you can at least go into it with your eyes wide open.
Yeah.
It's about being strategic, even when you're handed a solution on a silver platter.
I love it.
So we've gathered our insights. We've thanked everyone profusely for their ideas. Now what?
Now comes the part where we really put those problem-centric lenses on.
Okay.
It's time for step 2 of idea prioritization. Assumption refinement.
Okay.
And this revolves around asking 4 key questions about each idea.
All right. Let's hear them. What's the first question we need to ask to refine our assumptions and get to the heart of the problem?
It all starts with understanding your audience.
Go ahead.
Who are you creating this for? The first question to ask is, who is this idea for and what goal are they trying to achieve?
So we're really digging into the who at this stage.
Yes.
Not just assuming we know our target customer.
Absolutely. And it's not enough to just have a general idea.
Okay.
This is about being laser focused on your ideal customer.
Right.
So let's say you're thinking about adding an analytics dashboard to an education platform. On the surface, Teachers seem like the obvious target.
Right. Teachers use education platforms.
But if you dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
you'll quickly realize that not all teachers are created equal.
Okay.
A high school chemistry teacher might have completely different needs and goals when it comes to analytics than, say, an elementary school art teacher.
Okay, so it's about narrowing down your focus to the most valuable customer segment.
Exactly.
But what happens if during this refinement process you realize your segment is too broad or even too narrow?
Yeah, well, that's where flexibility comes in, right?
Okay.
The beauty of idea due diligence is that it's an iterative process.
Right.
If your segment is too broad, you refine your criteria based on your insights. Too narrow, you might need to expand your scope or even consider a market pivot.
It's about adapting and refining as you go.
Precisely. Now, once we have a clear picture of who we are targeting, it's time to address the problem they face.
Okay.
The second question to ask is, what customer problem does this solve?
And this is where it gets really interesting because it's not just about identifying a problem.
Right.
It's about understanding the root cause.
Exactly. The source material makes a great analogy here. Remember how kids are constantly asking why. They're not satisfied with surface-level answers. They want to get to the bottom of things.
Right.
And that's the mindset we need to adopt.
So channel our inner 5-year-old.
Yes.
And keep asking why until we uncover the real problem and not just the symptoms.
And then once we think we've struck gold,
Yeah.
there's one more question that's deceptively simple yet incredibly powerful. So what? So what? Okay, I have to admit, so what doesn't sound like the most groundbreaking question.
Right.
Why is it so important?
Because it forces us to connect the problem to its impact.
Okay.
It helps us understand how this problem is actually affecting our target customer.
Okay.
The source material even suggests literally asking, so what? During customer interviews,
Interesting.
it can trigger really strong responses and provide a deeper understanding of how much the problem truly matters to them.
I love that sometimes the most impactful questions are the ones we don't overthink.
Absolutely.
So we've gotten clear on the who and the why, but what about the positive side?
Right.
The what's in it for me that every customer wants to know.
That's where our third question comes in. What benefit does the customer gain if their problem is solved?
This is where we start painting a picture of that desired future state.
Okay, so instead of dwelling on the negative, we shift our focus to the positive outcomes of solving the problem.
Yeah.
But those benefits need to be tangible and directly related to the problem, right?
Totally.
Solving the wrong problem won't lead to the desired benefits.
Exactly. For example, let's say your target customer struggles with social anxiety because they lack certain conversational skills.
Okay.
By pinpointing that root cause, we can then identify specific benefits that directly address it, such as improved social interactions, a wider social circle, even increased confidence and emotional well-being.
Now, those are benefits worth striving for.
Right.
But it's not just about the customer, is it?
Right.
Ultimately, we need to ensure this idea makes sense for our business, too.
You hit the nail on the head, and that's precisely where our fourth and final question comes in. What are the potential measurable benefits that your business will gain from this idea?
So how does this idea tie into our bottom line? Will it increase revenue, decrease costs, improve customer retention? It's about thinking beyond user satisfaction and connecting the dots to concrete, measurable benefits for the business.
Exactly. Now, it might be too early for precise numbers at this stage, but that's okay.
Right.
The key is to start thinking about the business side early on, document your assumptions, knowing that you'll refine them as you gather more information throughout the due diligence process.
It's about laying the groundwork for a solid business case.
Absolutely.
We've asked our 4 key questions. We've refined our assumptions. What's next in this idea prioritization phase?
Now it's time to make some tough choices. Okay.
We've got a bunch of refined ideas,
Right.
but we can't pursue them all.
Well, of course not.
Step 3 is all about opportunity ranking,
Okay.
figuring out which ideas have the most potential.
So how do we go about ranking these potential golden tickets? It can't just be a popularity contest, right?
Definitely not. We need a system.
Yeah.
And a good one relies on a set of well-defined criteria.
Okay.
This could include market size. Are we tapping into a small pond or a vast ocean?
Makes sense.
What's the potential impact on our target customer? And how well does this align with our overall business strategy?
We need to make sure this idea isn't just a shiny object, but something that can actually move the needle for our business.
Oh, sure.
But we're also looking for passion, right? That fire in the belly that gets everyone excited to work on this idea. Absolutely. Passion is a critical factor because a team that believes in the idea is more likely to push through challenges and make it a success.
For sure.
So we score each idea against our chosen criteria.
Boy.
Factoring in that passion element, higher scores mean higher potential.
Right.
Which then dictates which ideas get the green light for further exploration.
And what about the ideas that don't quite make the cut? Are they banished to the land of forgotten ideas?
Not necessarily. They might not be the right fit right now.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean they're bad ideas. We keep them in a backlog for future consideration.
Okay.
Priorities change, markets evolve.
Right.
And that almost but not quite idea could become a game changer down the line.
Okay, so we've prioritized our ideas and we're armed with a short list of potential winners. But now we need to see if these ideas hold up in the real world. Right. That's where market discovery comes in.
You got it. And that's exactly what we'll be diving into in the next part of this deep dive.
All right, welcome back. We've really dug into idea due diligence.
We have.
From what makes an idea tick to pressure testing it.
Yeah.
Against the realities of the market. And now
the fun really begins.
Yeah, the viability check.
It's my favorite part.
Really?
Yeah.
So we've looked at the market, we've talked to customers.
Yes.
Now it's time to ask ourselves, does this idea make sense for us, for our business?
Precisely.
Okay, so let's break down this viability check.
Okay.
What's the first step in determining whether this promising idea is actually the right move for our business?
Yeah, it all starts with strategic alignment, making sure our ship, our destination's on the map.
Right.
We might have a fantastic ship, a really talented crew, but if we're sailing to the wrong island, it's all for nothing.
It's like that saying, just because you could do something doesn't mean you should.
100%.
And I think in the, fast-paced world of product development, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new idea without pausing to consider if it actually fits into the bigger picture.
Totally. Every new product, feature, enhancement, it's an investment.
Right.
And misaligned initiatives, they can be costly distractions.
Yeah, sure.
They pull us away from our core objectives and really just chip away at our resources.
Yeah, so before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
we need to take a step back.
Absolutely.
Review our organization's strategic goals.
Where are we going?
Right, exactly.
What's our brand story? How does this particular idea help us get there?
Does it support our overall narrative or does it send mixed messages?
100%. And if those answers are raising red flags, we need to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
Maybe it's time to hit pause on the idea.
Yeah.
Explore ways to kind of tweak it for a better fit, or even just shift our focus to something that aligns more closely with our current direction.
It's about making strategic decisions, even when it means maybe letting go of an idea that we're passionate about.
Absolutely.
So we've confirmed that our idea aligns with our overall strategy. What's next?
Now it's time to get a little bit more concrete. We move on to step 2, solution concept.
Okay.
This is where we start to really envision what this idea might actually look like in the real world. But I want to be clear here. We're not talking about detailed designs or lines of code just yet.
No. It's more about creating that high-level blueprint, something to wrap our heads around, assess its feasibility, and start getting a sense of the potential costs and benefits.
You got it. The source material actually highlights a really common paradox at this stage.
Okay.
We often need cost estimations to secure funding,
Right.
but we haven't actually designed the solution yet.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chicken or the egg situation.
It really is.
It's like asking someone to budget for a house before they've even seen the floor plan.
Exactly.
So how do we bridge that gap?
By focusing on a plausible, high-level concept that captures the essence of the solution without getting bogged down in the nitty-gritty. Think of it as a teaser trailer for a movie.
Okay.
Enough to pique interest and demonstrate potential, but leaving room for the full picture to unfold later.
And it's crucial to manage expectations, right, along the way.
Oh, for sure.
Because that final solution might end up looking quite different from this initial concept.
Right.
As we, gather more data and refine our approach.
That's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
The key is to focus on those core aspects of the solution that drive value.
Okay.
And the source material suggests honing in on 3 key areas: customer experience, marketing and sales, and product support.
Okay, so thinking through how this solution will integrate into that entire customer lifecycle.
Exactly.
From that initial interaction and throughout their experience with our product or service.
Yeah. Precisely. So for customer experience, we're asking ourselves, how will this solution benefit our users? Will it save them time, money, effort? Will it make their lives easier or their work more enjoyable?
Right.
We need to articulate those tangible benefits.
Okay, and then for marketing and sales, we're shifting gears to think about, okay, how are we actually going to reach our target market?
Yeah.
What channels will be most effective? How will we position this solution within the market? What's our pricing strategy?
And of course, we can't forget about product support.
Right.
Even the most intuitive solutions will likely require some level of support.
Of course.
So we need to consider those ongoing needs.
Right.
Will we offer training? What about documentation? How will we handle customer inquiries and issues?
By addressing those three key areas, we're not only fleshing out our solution concept, we're also demonstrating to stakeholders that we're thinking long-term,
Absolutely.
considering that entire customer journey and setting ourselves up for a successful product launch.
Exactly. And that brings us to step 3, the value model.
Okay.
Now that we have a clearer picture of what we're building, it's time to understand how this solution will generate value for both the customer and our business.
Okay.
How will this exchange of value actually work in the market?
In other words, how are we going to make money from this?
Exact.
Because at the end of the day, we need to demonstrate that this idea has the potential to generate revenue or achieve other business objectives.
For sure. And the source material, it outlines 5 common value models:
Okay.
direct sale, subscriptions, two-sided markets, cross-subsidized, and freemium.
Okay, let's break those down a little bit. So direct sales, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
A customer makes a one-time purchase of our product or service.
Exactly.
Subscriptions, on the other hand, involve recurring payments,
Right.
typically on a monthly or annual basis.
Yep.
This model's great for building those predictable revenue streams,
Yeah.
but requires a different approach to customer retention.
Right. You got to keep them coming back.
Exactly. Then we have two-sided markets,
Yes.
which connect buyers and sellers. Think,
Right.
Etsy, Airbnb, Uber.
Yeah.
They're facilitating transactions and generating revenue through fees or advertising.
Exactly.
We've got cross-subsidized products.
Those are interesting.
They are interesting, right?
Yeah.
Offered at a low price,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even at a loss, with the understanding that profits will come from, related products or services.
Exactly. Think about those dirt cheap printers.
Yes,
They get you in the door, but then you're hooked on buying those expensive ink cartridges.
exactly. It's a classic.
Right.
And finally, we have freemium.
Right.
This has become increasingly popular, especially in the software world.
For sure.
You offer a basic version of your product for free, enticing users to upgrade to a paid version with more features and functionality.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this whole process, is that you get to choose what model works best for you
Right.
based on the product.
There's no one size fits all.
Exactly.
The key takeaway here is that understanding our value model is essential for that next step in our viability check, quantifying that investment opportunity.
Right. This is where we roll up our sleeves and dive into the numbers.
Oh, okay.
We've got to determine if this idea is financially viable.
Right.
And the source material, it introduces a really powerful tool for this, the value driver tree.
Okay, break down this value driver tree for me.
Okay, so
What is it? How does it help us evaluate the financial viability of our idea?
think of the value driver tree like a literal tree.
Okay.
The trunk represents our primary revenue source.
Okay.
And each branch represents a factor that influences that revenue.
Okay.
Things like customer acquisition cost, average deal size, customer lifetime value.
Okay. So if our trunk, let's say, represents revenue from subscriptions,
Okay.
one branch might be the number of new subscribers we acquire each month.
Yep.
Another branch might be the percentage of subscribers who upgrade to a higher price plan.
Exactly. By analyzing each branch,
Yeah.
we gain a really clear understanding of what drives our financial success and where we might have opportunities to improve.
So instead of looking at our financials as a static spreadsheet,
Right.
the value driver tree helps us visualize the interconnectedness
Yes.
of all these different factors and make more informed decisions.
Precisely. And this ties into another really crucial aspect of this step: understanding our organization's financial metrics.
Okay.
Every business has key performance indicators.
Right. What gets measured gets managed.
Exactly.
These metrics might include things like payback period.
Yep. Yeah.
How long until this investment becomes profitable?
Or net present value.
Okay.
How does the value of this investment compare to other potential investments we could be making?
And let's not forget about EBITDA.
Right. Gotta love EBITDA.
Gives us a clear picture of the operating cash flow generated by this particular idea.
By aligning our analysis with these financial metrics, we're not just crunching numbers in a vacuum.
Right.
We're speaking the language of our stakeholders.
Exactly.
And building a business case that resonates with those who hold the purse strings.
It's about connecting those dots between customer value,
Yes.
the financial viability of our idea,
Right.
and the overall success of our business.
It all ties together.
It does, but even with the most promising ideas,
Yeah.
we can't ignore the potential pitfalls, right?
That's where risk assessment comes in.
Of course.
Every idea, no matter how brilliant, comes with inherent risks.
Right.
Our job is to identify those risks and develop proactive mitigation strategies.
So we're not just putting on those rose-colored glasses and assuming everything's going to go according to plan.
Right, gotta be real.
We're acknowledging that there will be bumps in the road, and we need to come up with a plan to navigate those challenges.
Exactly. The source material suggests creating a risk register,
Right.
which sounds a lot more official than it actually is.
I was going to say.
It's basically just a way to document those potential risks in a structured way.
So what kind of risks might we be identifying at this stage?
Oh, they could be anything from competitor actions.
Okay.
Like, what if a competitor releases a similar product before we do?
Right.
To technological challenges, regulatory hurdles, even internal roadblocks like resource constraints or shifting priorities.
And for each risk, we want to assess the likelihood of it actually happening and the potential impact if it does. And then we can brainstorm those mitigation strategies.
Exactly. So going back to that competitor releasing a similar product,
Yeah.
we might mitigate that risk by accelerating our development timeline,
Right.
focusing on unique features that differentiate our solution, or maybe adjusting our pricing strategy.
It's about being proactive,
Yeah.
anticipating those potential problems,
Yes,
and having a plan in place to address them head on.
100%. And this ties into that idea of building confidence with our stakeholders
Okay.
by showcasing a well-thought-out risk assessment.
Right.
We're not just identifying potential problems.
We're demonstrating that we've considered them
Exactly.
and have a plan to mitigate them.
We got this.
We've got this. Exactly. It's about showing that we're not just dreamers with big ideas, but we're strategic thinkers who can actually navigate the complexities of bringing those ideas to life.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to that final step in our viability check.
The draft business case.
The draft business case. This is it.
This is it.
This is the culmination of all our hard work.
All of it.
The document that brings everything together
It's beautiful.
and makes a compelling argument for investing in this idea.
Yes.
This is like our closing argument
Yes.
in the courtroom of product
I
development.
love that analogy.
We've presented the evidence.
Yes.
We've addressed the counter arguments.
Right.
And now it's time to drive home our point
Yes.
and convince the jury, our stakeholders, to rule in our favor.
I'm convinced already.
And the source material provides a really, I think, effective four-part structure for crafting this persuasive draft business case.
Lay it on me.
It starts with something that might surprise you, telling the story of a single, real customer.
Interesting.
It's about putting a human face on the problem,
Humanizing it.
tapping into emotions,
Right.
creating a connection that a dry, data-driven approach just can't achieve.
For sure.
So we start with that one person who embodies the problem we're trying to solve, make it relatable, highlighting the very real impact that this idea could have on someone's life.
It makes it real.
Exactly.
Not just numbers on a page.
Exactly. And then we zoom out,
Okay.
showcase the bigger picture,
Right.
how this problem extends beyond that single customer to encompass a whole target market.
The market size.
We're demonstrating the scale and the potential of this opportunity.
And that's when we bring in the business side.
Exactly. We've tugged at the heartstrings. We've shown the potential impact.
Right.
And now it's time to appeal to, their self-interest.
Their wallets.
Exactly. How will this idea benefit the business? Will it boost revenue, reduce costs, improve efficiency, enhance our brand reputation?
All the good stuff.
It's about connecting those dots between customer value and business value.
Yes.
But it's not enough to simply present the facts, is it?
No, we need to infuse our recommendation with conviction.
Okay.
This is more than just a good idea.
Great.
This is the right decision for our business,
Okay.
and we're here to advocate for it with confidence and enthusiasm.
This four-part structure is so smart because it speaks to both the head and the heart.
100%.
We're not just throwing data at our stakeholders. We're telling a compelling story
Yes.
that resonates on an emotional and logical level.
Love it. By the end of this process, we should have a clear answer to our initial question. Should we invest in this?
And if the idea has passed our very rigorous viability check,
Yes.
we can move forward with confidence, knowing we've done our due diligence,
Absolutely.
made an informed decision.
And if it hasn't,
And if it hasn't, then maybe it's time to revisit the drawing board.
it's okay, not every idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might need to pivot the idea, pause it for later consideration, or explore other opportunities that align more closely with our current goals and resources.
The beauty of this is,
It's iterative.
it is.
This draft business case will likely evolve as we gather more information,
Yeah.
test our assumptions, refine our solution. It's about being flexible,
Flexible.
adapting to new information,
Love it.
making data-driven decisions every step of the way.
Music to my ears.
That is idea due diligence.
We did it.
We did it. This has been fantastic.
So much fun.
We hope that this deep dive empowers you to bring your most innovative, impactful, and yes, viable ideas to life.
Until next time.
Until next time.